I want to talk about some trends that are happening right now because I send out an email every week on on Wednesday when after we do our training. And one of the trends that's happening right now, I don't know if you've seen this, but it's vacation for a family of four, and it's a voiceover for a commercial, and it's a British voiceover artist, and she's talking about and again, I will share this with people who are in the show club. I'll send the link to it. But I think it's an interesting trend because it is sort of popping off because of it being summer. Also, Costin Mayer, if you don't follow them, they're a dancing couple. They um they did a dance to it, which was quite funny, but not an easy dance. So no one's I don't think anyone's really replicating the dance. What people are doing that I think is funny is the voiceover artist is very exuberant and happy and excited, but then people are showing clips of them on vacation in like not great situations where things are not going well. They're either it's raining or someone's like, passed out or something like that. So I have an idea for what we're going to do on Broadway Husbands with this audio. But I think something you could think about is, let's say you're super busy in the summer and you actually like for most actors, we don't really take summer off. In fact, if you're working on Broadway, in my experience, summer and Christmas are the two busiest times. So the fact that like you're not getting a vacation is you're just show how hard you're working at the time, right? And the irony is that she's talking about this is a great vacation for a family of four. You're like, yeah, no, I don't really take a vacation. So using that audio could be a really fun trend to think about how your life is different from people who maybe do have a typical summer off or vacation. If you're a new parent, your kid's not in school yet. So, you don't really get a summer vacation. So show like, oh, yeah, I'm not really getting a vacation. I can speak from my own experience. However, we are going to Lake Tahoe next week. I just don't know how much of it's really hard to say that it's a vacation when you don't have childcare. In fact, I'm thinking about hiring a babysitter for like part of the day while we're there, just have somebody come watch Mavericks so I can do stuff and relax. Um, Yeah, so that's one thing, that I think would be really fun to look at trending is that vacation audio. The next one that I think is really funny that I like is and this is something if you don't do this, I think you should really consider doing, um, they call on Instagram, they call it a remix. So basically what you would do, and I'll give a tutorial on Wednesday for the people in the show club, but what you would do is when you see a trend or a reel of something somebody did that you think is funny, a meme, if you will, you can change the text by doing a remix. You would click the three buttons at the bottom right and say remix, and that video will show up in your feed and still tag the original creator. And then you can overlay text that's appropriate for your audience. And the reason why I think this is important is because I have had several remixes. I don't do them often. I would say I probably do them like once every 3 months, but almost every time I do it, it goes viral and it gets a lot of traction because part of it is because I don't do it often, so it varies the feed. But oftentimes it's because I'm thinking, as we were talking about today on Instagram, how do I disrupt this trend? Right? If they're talking about something that's very common around straight couples, I might try to figure out how to make this around gay couples, right? You and a lot of times you can look and see what other people are doing with those memes and then figure out how to shift it so that you can create it for your own specific audience. But if you haven't done a remix, I encourage you to try it, and it'll vary your feed. It'll look like somebody else's content, but you're using the remix feature, which actually credits those people. And then the other trend that I think is really fun that's happening right now, which I have not done yet, is something to take the edge off. When this first started as a trend, I did not get it. People were like standing at buildings and putting their fingers on the corner of a building, and I was like, I don't get it. Until I finally saw the original trend, which the idea was like people are like pretending like they're smoking a cigarette, but they're doing something they love, right? So If you're a Disney fan, if you're a coffee follower, like a coffee drinker like me, like I might be like, like trying to like tap this and then like put it here and I'm just like sitting back and relaxing and drinking my drink. So you might think about using that trend in a way that shows something you love. If you're a book reader, you could always be like, impacting the book like read like you're reading it, and then as you read it, you could be sitting here like this, right, like it's a cigarette. So those are three trends that I think are really popping off right now. If you haven't made something around those, the remix I'm going to share, but it's a guy and this may not be appropriate to your audience, but he's on a swing. He's super hot, by the way, and then he's like coming into view, and he's flipping off with his middle finger. So that's a great way to say, like, when somebody says they're doing something that, you know, is against your audience. And I'm going to show an example of that this week. So you'll be able to see that whenever we pop into the show club. So if you're here, say hello down in the comments down here and let me know if you have specific questions or if you need specific support this week. Because I really do want this to be an engaging conversation. And I also want to know who's here joining me because it doesn't always tell me. Yeah, it doesn't tell me who's here. So I'd like to see who's here. Say hello down below if you can. It may not give you access to say hello because sometimes the settings are weird. And once you've like started the meeting, you can't change the settings. It's super weird. Okay, yeah, it looks like you can't. Maybe people are just having a hard time. Okay, so I hope that these trends help you. And again, if you want to get more support around this, make sure you consider joining the Show Up Club. We've got some spots open, and I will be in August. Um, Starting in August, we're going to be offering up some really fun discounts and stuff for Show Club members. So I'd love to see you there. And I'll see you next week for another Monday morning mindset meeting. We meet here at 9:30 Monday mornings. I will be in Lake Tahoe. 9:30 there is 6:30. So hopefully my child will not totally interrupt me, but we shall see. And I'll see you then. Bye.